The difference between the rich and the poor is not money, it's Mindeceit. And until you rewire the way you think, you'll stay broke, powerless, and trapped in mediocrity. Let's get this straight right now. Success doesn't start with the numbers in your bank account. It starts with the numbers in your head. The poor mindset is filled with excuses, fear, and the obsession with instant gratification. The rich mindset, it's hunger vision and discipline so ruthless it would terrify the average person. This is not about luck. This is not about chance. This is about the war inside your own mind, the war that decides whether you will rise or stay down forever. The poor mindset is not just about having an empty wallet. It's about having an empty belief system. It's about the disease of excuses, the sickness of self-pity, and the addiction to staying weak. Excuses are the comfort food of the broke. They feed on them daily, every morning, every night. They recite the same pitiful lines. I can't because I don't have money. I can't because nobody gave me a chance. I can't because I wasn't born into the right family. I can't because life isn't fair. And you know what? They're right. Life isn't fair. But guess what? Life doesn't owe you fairness. Life doesn't care about your sob stories. Life doesn't care about your excuses. Life will bury you alive if you keep hiding behind them. The poor mindset clings to excuses because excuses are safe. Excuses give you permission to stay the same. They let you feel better about doing nothing. But that comfort comes at the price of your freedom, because every excuse you make is another link in the chain around your neck, dragging you down further into mediocrity. Every time you say, I can't, what you're really saying is, I won't. And when you say, I won't, what you're really admitting is, I don't have the guts. I don't have the drive. I don't have the hunger to get what I say I want. Meanwhile, the rich mindset has no time for excuses. It doesn't waste oxygen crying about what it doesn't have. It uses every breath to build with what it does have. The rich mindset knows the world is hard, cruel, and unforgiving, but instead of crying, it adapts, it strategizes, it fights, it claws its way through every obstacle until it bends the world to its will. Where the poor mindset sees a locked door, the rich mindset is already looking for the hammer to smash it open. Where the poor mindset sees a mountain too high to climb, the rich mindset sees a summit worth conquering. That is the difference. Same world, same struggles, same reality, but two different outcomes because of two different ways of thinking. Think about this. Two people grow up in the same neighborhood, face the same challenges, start with the same disadvantages. One uses that as fuel, the other uses it as an excuse. 10 years later, one is running the show and the other is still complaining about the system. What changed? Not the world, not the environment, their mindset. One said, this is my reason. The other said, this is my excuse. And life rewarded them accordingly. The poor mindset will look at someone successful and sneer, they're lucky. But luck is the language of losers. Luck is the word poor minds use to explain away the success of others, the truth. The rich mindset doesn't rely on luck. It relies on action, persistence, and discipline. Luck might open a door once in your life, but it's your mindset that decides whether you walk through it or slam it shut in your own face. Excuses turn people into cowards. They hide behind them like shields, thinking thinking it will protect them from the pain of trying and failing. But what they don't realize is this: excuses don't protect you. They imprison you. You don't avoid failure. You guarantee it. You don't avoid pain. You extend it for a lifetime. You don't avoid risk. You bury yourself alive in regret. That's the legacy of excuses, regret, shame, wasted potential. And then you die with your dreams still locked inside you. The rich mindset doesn't fear excuses because it doesn't need them. It doesn't look for a way out. It looks for a way through. It doesn't whine about what it doesn't have. It asks, what can I create? What can I build? What can I become? That's why the rich mindset multiplies resources, multiplies opportunities, multiplies victories. While the poor mindset is crying about doors being closed, the rich mindset is already building a house with 10 more doors in it. Excuses are nothing but lies you tell yourself to justify your weakness. And here's the brutal truth. Nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody cares why you didn't make it. Nobody cares why you failed. Nobody cares about your sad little reasons. All they see is results. And if you don't have them, you're invisible. That's the harsh reality the poor mindset refuses to face. They want sympathy, not results. They want pity, not power. And that's why they stay broke, small, and irrelevant. The rich mindset understands that nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's handing you a miracle. Nobody's giving you a free pass. It's you, your choices, your actions, your resilience, your fight. That's it. That's all you've got, and that's all you need. Excuses are for the weak. Execution is for the strong. And the difference between the two is the difference between living a life of power or rotting in the prison of poverty. The poor mindset bows down at the altar of comfort. It treats comfort like a god, like the ultimate prize. Sleep in, stay warm, avoid stress, avoid risk, avoid effort. That's the mantra of the weak. They will trade their entire future for 5 extra minutes under the blanket. They will throw away their dreams just to stay comfortable today. They don't realize that comfort is not a reward. It's a trap. Comfort is poison disguised as pleasure. It feels sweet in the moment, but it rots your potential from the inside out. Every second you spend chasing comfort, you are running away from greatness. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you are choosing mediocrity over mastery. The rich mindset sees comfort for what it really is, a thief. Comfort steals ambition. Comfort steals opportunity. Comfort steals time, and time is the only currency you cannot earn back. The rich mindset refuses to bow to comfort. It embraces sacrifice. It knows that nothing worth having comes without a price. While the poor mindset is curled up on the couch, binging shows for hours, the rich mindset is still grinding, still working, still moving forward. That's not because the rich mindset likes pain. It's because it understands that pain is temporary, but regret is permanent. Think about this. The poor mindset says, I want to enjoy life. The rich mindset says, I want to build a life worth enjoying. There's a difference. Enjoyment without sacrifice is just distraction. But enjoyment after sacrifice is fulfillment. Comfort now equals misery later. Sacrifice now equals freedom later. And that's a formula the poor mindset refuses to understand. They live as if tomorrow doesn't exist. They devour every cheap pleasure they can get their hands on and then wonder why they have nothing left when it actually matters. Sacrifice is the entry fee to success. Nobody gets in without paying. You pay with time, with sweat, with discipline, with nights of grinding when everyone else is sleeping. You pay with rejection, with failure, with doubt. And most people aren't willing to pay the price. That's why the line for mediocrity is packed and the line for greatness is empty. Too many people want the reward without the sacrifice. They want the body without the workouts. They want the wealth without the grind. They want respect without the struggle. And when they don't get it, they blame everyone else except the person staring back in the mirror. The poor mindset hides from pain like a coward, but the rich mindset uses pain as fuel. Pain is a teacher. Pain is a weapon. Pain is the pressure that turns coal into diamonds. The rich mindset says, if it hurts, good, it means I'm growing. If it's hard, good, it means I'm being stretched. If it's uncomfortable, good, it means I'm breaking limits. That is why the rich mindset evolves, while the poor mindset stays stuck in the same miserable cycle year after year. Comfort zones are graveyards of potential. They bury talents, they bury dreams, they bury ambition. How many people had world-changing ideas that never left their head because they were too comfortable to take action? How many people had the chance to rewrite their entire story but chose to sit on the sidelines instead? The poor mindset is not destroyed by lack of opportunity. It's destroyed by laziness disguised as comfort. Sacrifice, on the other hand, is resurrection. Every time you sacrifice comfort, you're building strength. Every time you sacrifice distraction, you're building focus. Every time you sacrifice pleasure, you're building discipline. And discipline is what separates the rich from the poor, the winners from the losers, the strong from the weak. You want to know the truth. The weak will never beat the strong, not because they lack ability, but because they lack sacrifice. The poor mindset laughs at sacrifice. It mocks people who grind. It says, why work so hard? Why not just relax? Why not just enjoy yourself? That's the voice of mediocrity trying to drag you back down into the pit. Misery loves company and comfort loves cowards. But the rich mindset ignores that noise. It knows that comfort now means change later, and sacrifice now means freedom forever. There is no breakthrough without breakdown. There is no growth without grind. There is no greatness without sacrifice. The poor mindset dreams of success while sleeping in, while wasting hours on distractions, while avoiding anything that feels uncomfortable. The rich mindset earns success by bleeding for it, sweating for it, and working for it long after everyone else has quit. So you have a choice. You can chase comfort and guarantee regret, or you can embrace sacrifice and guarantee growth. One path gives you a temporary high. The other gives you permanent power. One leaves you weak. The other makes you unstoppable. And the difference isn't money. It isn't luck. It isn't privilege. It's mindset. The poor mindset is addicted to instant gratification. It wants everything now without waiting, without effort, without patience. It's the mindset of a gambler, a consumer, a short-term thinker who destroys tomorrow for the sake of today. It buys clothes it can't afford, cars it doesn't need, food that poisons the body, all to feel good for 5 minutes, and then it wonders why it's broke, sick, and lost. The poor mindset screams, I deserve it now. But the truth is, you don't deserve anything you haven't earned. And that's why the poor mindset stays trapped. It keeps chasing highs instead of building foundations. The rich mindset is the exact opposite. It lives and breathes long-term vision. It doesn't ask, what makes me happy right now? It asks, what builds me stronger for the future? While the poor mindset spends money on distractions, the rich mindset invests money in assets. While the poor mindset wastes time scrolling, the rich mindset invests time learning, building and executing. The poor mindset plants weeds. The rich mindset plants seeds. And when the seasons change, one has nothing but regrets, while the other harvests results. Instant gratification is poison disguised as pleasure. It tricks you into thinking you're winning when you're actually losing. That bag of junk food, it feels good now, but it kills your energy, your health, your future. That new gadget bought on credit, it feels good now, but it drowns you in debt later. That night of partying, it feels good now, but it steals your productivity tomorrow. The poor mindset doesn't see the chain reaction. It only sees the moment. It is blind, and that blindness costs everything. The rich mindset plays the long game. It sacrifices today's comfort for tomorrow's victory. It doesn't care about being the star of Friday night. It cares about owning Friday night 10 years from now. It doesn't care about looking rich. It cares about being rich. It doesn't care about applause today. It cares about legacy tomorrow. That's why the rich mindset wins, because while the poor mindset is chasing dopamine, the rich mindset is building destiny. You know what separates the great from the average? Delayed gratification, ability to wait, the ability to suffer now for a reward later, the ability to say, I don't need this today because I'm building something bigger for tomorrow. That's the difference between the broke and the wealthy, the forgotten and the legendary. The poor mindset says, one more episode, one more drink, one more purchase, one more excuse. The rich mindset says, one more rep, one more grind, one more investment, one more sacrifice. That's the war between instant gratification and long-term vision. The poor mindset constantly sabotages itself because it values short-term pleasure more than long-term progress. It eats into its own future like a parasite. It spends money it doesn't have to impress people it doesn't like. It wastes hours on entertainment instead of education. It chooses what feels good in the moment over what makes life good forever. And then it cries about being stuck, not realizing it chose to be stuck every single day with those decisions. The rich mindset is ruthless. It will deny itself pleasures now to build empires later. It will say no to the party so it can work on the dream. It will say no to the purchase so it can stack capital. It will say no to the distraction so it can focus on the vision. The rich mindset understands this truth. Temporary sacrifice equals permanent freedom. The poor mindset ignores this truth. Temporary pleasure equals permanent chains. Instant gratification is a disease, and the cure is discipline. Discipline is doing what you need to do, even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is saying no to the easy path so you can dominate the hard path. Discipline is looking 10 years ahead when everyone else is staring at the weekend. Discipline is the weapon of the rich mindset, and without it, you will lose every single time. The poor mindset doesn't fail because it lacks talent. It fails because it lacks patience. It wants results too fast. It wants success overnight. And when it doesn't get it, it quits. That is why the poor mindset never sees the payoff. It doesn't stay in the game long enough to win. The rich mindset, it plays the marathon. It knows success takes years, decades. It knows the grind is slow, but it embraces it. It knows the payoff will come because it refuses to stop until it does. The poor mindset is a slave to the present. The rich mindset is a master of the future. One dies with regrets. The other dies with legacy, and the only difference is vision. The poor mindset loves to blame. It clings to blame like a blanket, like a shield, like a crutch. Whenever life gets hard, it points the finger outward. It's the government's fault. It's my boss's fault. It's my parents' fault. It's society's fault. It's the economy's fault. It's everyone else's fault except mine. That is the anthem of weakness. Blame is the drug of cowards. It numbs them from the sting of reality, but it never cures the sickness. It offers temporary relief, but permanent paralysis. Because the moment you blame someone else, you hand over your power. And once you've surrendered your power, you've surrendered your chance at victory. The rich mindset doesn't waste a second on blame. It takes responsibility, brutal, ruthless, unfiltered responsibility, even when life throws unfair circumstances, even when the odds are stacked against them, even when betrayal cuts deep. The rich mindset doesn't point fingers, it points in the mirror. Because when you accept responsibility, you accept control. And when you accept control, you accept power. That is the key difference. The poor mindset looks for someone to carry the burden, while the rich mindset says, put it on my shoulders. I'll handle it. Blame is easy. Responsibility is hard. That's why most people choose blame. It feels good to say, it's not my fault. It feels good to believe the world is out to get you. It feels good to tell yourself you're the victim. But that good is the comfort of chains. It soothes you while it kills you. Responsibility, on the other hand, is painful. It forces you to confront your failures. It forces you to admit your mistakes. It forces you to acknowledge that the life you have is the result of the choices you made. That pain hurts, but it also heals. Because once you accept that you created your reality, you also accept that you can change it. The poor mindset says, I can't because of them. The rich mindset says, I can because of me. The poor mindset says, I'm trapped because of my circumstances. The rich mindset says, I'll win despite my circumstances. The poor mindset gives away control to others. The rich mindset takes ownership and creates control. One is a slave, the other is a master. And the difference isn't money, privilege, or luck. It's responsibility. Blame is a dead end. You can't grow from blame. You can't evolve from blame. You can't change your life while you're too busy blaming everyone else for how bad it is. The poor mindset never gets out of its hole because it's too busy yelling at the dirt that buried it. The rich mindset doesn't yell, it digs. It digs until its hands bleed, until its body breaks, until it sees daylight. That's responsibility, that's ownership, that's power. When you blame, you put your destiny in someone else's hands, and no one is coming to save you. Nobody cares enough to hand you success. Nobody's going to build your empire for you. Nobody's going to write your story except you. Blame makes you weak because it makes you wait. Responsibility makes you strong because it makes you move. And the ones who move are the ones who win. The poor mindset looks for excuses. The rich mindset looks for answers. The poor mindset sees problems and points outward. The rich mindset sees problems and asks, what can I do? How can I fix it? How do I overcome this? That question is the difference between staying stuck and breaking through. Because when you ask, how can I fix it? You are already creating solutions, and solutions build progress. Progress builds momentum. Momentum builds victory. Here's the brutal truth: life isn't fair. Life will hit you with things you don't deserve. Life will throw storms you never asked for. But fairness isn't the issue. Ownership is. Because while the poor mindset is crying about what's fair, the rich mindset is preparing to conquer no matter what. Fair or unfair, easy or hard, the rich mindset doesn't care. It accepts responsibility for outcomes. It accepts responsibility for results. And that's why it wins. Responsibility is freedom. Blame is slavery. Blame ties your fate to others. You live and die by what they do. Responsibility ties your fate to yourself. You live and die by what you do. That's power. That's liberation. That's how you escape the cycle of weakness. The poor mindset wants sympathy. It wants someone to pat them on the back and say, it's not your fault. But sympathy doesn't build empires. Sympathy doesn't make you strong. Sympathy doesn't create freedom. Responsibility does. The rich mindset doesn't want petty. It wants progress, and it doesn't beg for it. It demands it from itself. When you stop blaming and start owning, everything changes. Suddenly, failure isn't the end, it's feedback. Mistakes aren't death sentences, they're lessons. Struggles aren't punishments, they're training. The poor mindset calls these things unfair. The rich mindset calls them necessary. And that shift is the dividing line between staying powerless and becoming unstoppable. So the question is simple. Are you going to keep blaming the world, or are you finally going to take responsibility and claim your power? The poor mindset lives in scarcity. Scarcity is not about how much money you have in your pocket. It's about how little vision you have in your head. Scarcity says, there's not enough money, not enough time, not enough opportunities, not enough resources. It's the belief that the world is a pie, and every slice someone else takes is one less slice for you. And so the poor mindset clings, hoards, and fears. It spends its life protecting crumbs instead of creating loaves. It guards pennies instead of chasing fortunes. It's always afraid that if someone else wins, they lose. That's scarcity. That's weakness. That's a prison of the mind. The rich mindset, on the other hand, breathes abundance. Abundance isn't about what's in your bank account. It's about what's in your brain. Abundance says there's more than enough. More money to be made, more opportunities to be created, more solutions to be built, more victories to be claimed. Abundance doesn't see the world as a pie with limited slices. It sees the world as a bakery, and it says, if there's not enough pie, I'll build a bigger oven and make more. That's the difference. One shrinks in fear, the other expands in power. Scarcity makes people desperate. It makes them jealous. It makes them envious of success. When they see someone rise, they resent it. They say, why them? Why not me? They believe success is stolen. They believe wealth is unfair. They believe opportunities are handed out only to the chosen. Scarcity is the language of bitterness. And bitterness kills faster than poverty, because once you're bitter, you're blind. You can't see opportunities. You can't see possibilities. You can't see the way forward, because all you're looking at is someone else's victory. Abundance flips the script. Abundance says, if they did it, I can do it too. Abundance sees success as proof, not as theft. Abundance says there's room for everyone at the top. And if there isn't room, abundance builds another top. Abundance doesn't resent, it learns. It doesn't envy, it studies. It doesn't complain, it creates. Abundance believes in multiplying value, not protecting scarcity. That is why the rich mindset keeps growing and the poor mindset keeps shrinking. Scarcity creates fear, fear of risk, fear of failure, fear of losing what little you already have, and fear locks the poor mindset into paralysis. It would rather cling to its tiny scraps than risk losing them in pursuit of something greater. That's why the poor mindset says, play it safe, don't take risks, don't chase dreams, don't try, stay comfortable. Scarcity worships comfort, but comfort is a coffin. The poor mindset lives safely in its coffin, buried alive by its fear. Abundance is fearless. Abundance sees risk as opportunity. Abundance understands that failure is not the end, it's just tuition. It's the price you pay to win. Abundance doesn't hoard, it invests. It doesn't fear loss, it expects gain. Even in losing, abundance looks for lessons. Even in failure, abundance sees seeds. It says, if I lost today, I gained wisdom for tomorrow. That's why abundance keeps winning while scarcity keeps hiding. Scarcity thinks small. It thinks paycheck to paycheck, bill to bill, survival to survival. Scarcity never plans for growth. It only plans for endurance. It doesn't think about building wealth. It thinks about paying rent. It doesn't think about multiplying. It thinks about maintaining. Scarcity is stuck in survival mode, and survival mode is not living, it's dying slowly. Abundance thinks big. It thinks generational. It thinks legacy. It thinks about creating something that outlives the individual. Abundance doesn't settle for surviving. It builds, it expands, it multiplies. Abundance doesn't just think about feeding itself. It thinks about feeding nations. It doesn't think about one win. It thinks about endless victories. Scarcity operates from fear. Abundance operates from faith. Not blind faith, calculated faith. Faith in hard work, faith in discipline, faith in persistence, faith that effort creates outcomes. Scarcity says, what if it doesn't work? Abundance says, what if it does? Scarcity says, I can't afford to try. Abundance says, I can't afford not to try. Scarcity says, there's no way. Abundance says, I'll make one. Scarcity is always looking at what's missing. Abundance is always looking at what's possible. Scarcity focuses on lack. Abundance focuses on creation. Scarcity counts losses. Abundance counts opportunities. And in the end, you get what you focus on. If you focus on lack, you'll live in lack. If you focus on creation, you'll live in growth. That's not magic, it's mindset. The poor mindset thinks the pie is fixed. The rich mindset knows the pie is limitless. Scarcity dies protecting crumbs. Abundance wins by baking the future. So the line is drawn. You either live in scarcity and shrink, or you live in abundance and rise. And now we've reached the breaking point. The difference between rich and poor is not luck. It's not genetics. It's not the universe picking favorites. It's mindset. It's the way you think. It's the way you act. It's the way you respond when life slaps you across the face and dares you to stay down. The poor mindset will whine, complain, and point fingers. It will blame the government. It will blame the economy. It will blame the boss, the system, the neighbors, even fate itself. But the rich mindset points at the mirror and says, this is on me. The rich mindset takes ownership. It takes responsibility. It doesn't beg. It builds. It doesn't wait. It creates. It doesn't cry. It conquers. So here's the cold, hard truth. You can keep playing the victim. You can keep worshiping comfort. You can keep clinging to scarcity, and you'll rot in mediocrity for the rest of your life. Or you can rip that poison out of your brain, flip the switch, and start thinking like a winner. Start thinking abundance. Start thinking growth. Start thinking domination, because the world does not reward the weak. The world does not pay for excuses. The world doesn't care about your pity party. The world only bows to those who refuse to bow to it. So you make your choice. Right, GHT number, scarcity or abundance, victim or victor, poor or rich in your mind. This is not about money. It's about mindset. And mindset creates everything. Stop thinking small. Stop living scared. Stop clinging to crumbs. Build the bakery. Create the future. Take what's yours, because if you don't, someone else balalal. Now the question is simple. Will you stay soft, or will you rise up and take your place among the few who think rich, act rich, and live rich in every sense of the word? The answer is not tomorrow. The answer is not someday. The answer is nano dalu.